A Worldwide Wedding Customs Guide. Chapter 1. A Worldwide Wedding Customs Guide. Wedding Customs and Traditions in General. January, marry when the year is new, he'll be loving, kind, and true. February, when February birds do mate, you wed nor dread your fate. March, if you wed when March winds blow, joy and sorrow both you'll know. April, marry in April if you can, joy for maiden and for man. May, marry in the month of May, you will surely rue the day. June, marry when June roses grow and over land and sea you'll go. July, those who in July do wed must labor for their daily bread. August, whoever wed in August be, many a change is sure to see. September, marry in September's shine so that your life is rich and fine. October, if in October you do marry, love will come but riches tarry. November, if you wed in bleak November, only joys will come, remember. December, when December's snows fall fast, marry and your love will last. Victorian prose. The modern-day wedding comes mostly from ancient Greek and Roman tradition where parties and sacrifices to the gods were held to honor the union between a man and a woman. Despite all the mention about marriage in the Bible, it wasn't until the Council of Trent in 1563 that the Catholics made it a religious ceremony. Hebrews 13:4 says, "Marriage is to be honored by all, and husbands and wives must be faithful to each other. God will judge those who are immoral and those who commit adultery." In essence, the wedding, as a religious and sacred ceremony to cement the love a man and a woman proclaim for each other publicly in front of the world, is the most basic institution we have, the institution of monogamous marriage, which is the foundation of the traditional family, and the wedding vow is both pragmatically and symbolically the most sacred part of the proclamation of this love forever. Wedding custom says you have all these things on you for good luck. Something old and something new symbolizes two old families joining to become one new one. Something borrowed symbolizes friendship. Something blue represents loyalty and faith to one another. The universal formula of a wedding ceremony is a couple declaring their love/attachment to one another in the presence of the community. From a sociological standpoint, a wedding serves several functions. It tells the world you're a couple who will presumably love each other and live together, and sends out the message to everyone else that you're spoken for. Keep your hands off. It's a way to show off who you are in the community, how powerful and wealthy your family is. The more lavish and visible the wedding, the more you're displaying your power and status in the community. The typical Western wedding is based on ancient customs and superstitions designed to protect the couple and bring them good fortune in their new life together. In the West, the bride wears a veil not to hide her beauty like the Muslims do, but to protect her from the evil eye. In the past, the belief was that just before marriage, a young lady is at her most attractive, virginal, and innocent state. This is the time she is the most vulnerable to the devil and all the other evil forces of the world, so at first, a bridal canopy was used to hold them back, but this was later replaced by a facial veil. Once she was married, she was protected by God, the community, and her husband, so the veil could be removed. Customs to protect the couple from evil forces during the wedding ceremony are quite common. In some parts of Africa and Asia, they either wear certain clothing or luck charms to help ward off the evil that is attracted to the pomp and circumstance of a wedding. A common one is the girl getting painted/decorated in patterns by henna like temporary tattoos. The custom of wearing something old, something new, something borrowed and something blue is a way to symbolize the end of old life, the beginning of the new life. Blue was the color of purity. The borrowed item was supposed to come from a happily married older woman. These days, the white wedding dress is a symbol of virginity, but its origin was more pragmatic, simply a sign of wealth and status, since they were so expensive, generally useless after the wedding, and so different from the ordinary dresses other girls wore. Lower status girls wore ordinary dresses of other colors that could be used over again. In the old days, so the story goes, young men used to fight for the bride's garter because it would bring them good luck, but these fights became so violent that they replaced it by the bride throwing her bouquet to the single girls in the bunch, and the one who caught it would be the next one married. Some modern-day weddings have both, the single guys fight for the garter, the girls for the bouquet. The wedding cake was originally a symbol of fertility. The groom would take pieces of it and throw them over his wife's head. The more crumbs and small pieces the cake broke into, the better luck they would have at having many children. Nowadays, this custom has been replaced by confetti and rice, and the cake is eaten, not thrown. There are some negative customs in weddings carried over from the days when women were viewed as property. The bride's father gives her away just like he used to exchange her for property. Nobody gives the groom away. The wedding ring going on the third finger of her left hand is symbolic of subordination because the left hand is the weakest and the third finger has the least range of motion. The wedding ring is also seen as the currency of purchase. The groom buys her with the ring. Some couples tie old shoes to the back of the car when they get married. This goes back to a time when the father brought a pair of the daughter's old shoes in, hit her in the head with them lightly a few times, then gave them to the groom, symbolizing the fact that he can no longer beat her when she gets out of line. That is now the groom's territory. When the groom carried his bride over the threshold, we just think of it as a cute custom, but it originated as a symbol of pure poverty ownership of the bride. He captured her and now owns her. In modern life, we think of the honeymoon as a fun time for the new couple, but in the old days, the new couple stayed together for 1 month, 1 lunar cycle, in order to ensure that if she got pregnant, it was his seed that did it. It wasn't so much for romance as for this reason. The Chinese still use dowries, with the family of the bride offering a dowry to the groom to take the daughter away and support her. Women are generally valued lower than men. In the old days, a common custom was several guys would get a posse together, either already know a girl they wanted to kidnap or simply go to a neighboring town, look around, and if they saw a girl they liked, they would kidnap her, take her home, whereupon the females of the family would dress her up. She would be married whether she wanted to be or not. The couple would go and hide as their honeymoon to avoid being captured by the girl's relatives, possibly looking for her. Then once she lost her virginity, they would return home, because now with her virginity lost, her family didn't want her anymore, so she was stuck with this guy. This still goes on today, as I've seen on TV in one of those former Soviet republics whose name I can't pronounce or spell. It's a crazy world. Women have had no rights until relatively recently, and even now in much of the world, they still have no rights, especially when it comes to marriage. These kidnappings are simply accepted as part of the culture. In countries where women are finding freedom, some of them are rebelling and campaigning against the institution of marriage as a patriarchal device to control and exploit women. Women don't need men like they used to in order to survive. Some women get artificially inseminated or adopt children and live like that as single parents, earning their own money to pay their own way. All in all, there are many wedding customs to protect the couple from evil. Give them fertility and good luck. Give them money and presents to help them in their new life. Keep women down in their submissive roles. A wedding is a sign to the world of how wealthy you are, so a lot of older people want to show the world that they're doing pretty good out there. Specific wedding customs and traditions. The Chinese are into luck, so they often surround their weddings with the color red, the number 8 and the dragon, all considered lucky symbols. In France, the bride and groom often drink from a coupe de marriage, a double-handled marriage cup, to symbolize the union. Mexican tradition holds that the church is decorated with white roses and the wedding mass is held at 9 o'clock at night. They also get up to 15 friends to act as sponsors or godparents to each organize a part of the wedding or take care of it. Mexican weddings use 3 bouquets, one for the altar, one to keep as a souvenir, and one for the bride to throw at the reception. During the ceremony, the groom gives coins out of a dish to the bride, symbolizing sharing his wealth, giving her everything. A large rosary could be draped around the couple as they kneel at the altar. In Scotland, the groom wears the sash of his clan to his wedding. At the end of the ceremony, he takes it off and puts it over his bride's gown. There are often bagpipes. In Africa, wine is poured on the land as a dedication to the gods. The couple jumps over a brush covered with flowers, which symbolizes the starting of domestic life. In the Middle East, the bride wears a veil and gets her hands and feet decorated with a drawing made with alhia, henna. During the reception, men and women stay separated. In England, the couple walk toward the church with their wedding procession over a path of orange blossoms. In a party the night before, the new German couple are teased and dishes are broken. Beer is served. In Greece, they dance with handkerchiefs, kislamontiano. Stuffed grape leaves, lamb skewers and wine are served. In Italy, almonds covered with caramel symbolize the joys and sadnesses of marriage. In the reception, the traditional dance is called the tarantella. In Japan, the honored guests tell stories about the couple. Kyogashi, colored sweets with flower shape, are served. In Korea, the bride wears a multicolored silk dress with white sleeves and a black silk crown. She is made up with red on her cheeks to scare away bad spirits. In the Netherlands, the couple plant lily of the valley seed in their garden after the wedding. When the plants flower up every year, love is being renewed. In Russia, after the toast, cups are thrown to the floor. Their breaking means happiness. Wedding custom website / ethnic wedding websites worldwide. Answers.yahoo.com, Filipino marriage. aomdj.com/traditio.htm, wedding traditions and customs. arpanijiragorayan.blogspot.com/2008/11/armenian-wedding-traditions-customs-on.html, Armenian wedding, traditions, customs. a-weddingday.com/planning/customs.html, wedding day customs and traditions from around the world. bo-ku.com/cultural-traditions-weddings.htm, cultural wedding traditions and customs. bktahedj.com/wedding/wedding_traditions_history.php, wedding tradition history, customs, etiquette. wedding.the.com/wedding-planning/wedding-customs.aspx. ehow.com/wedding-ceremonies-and-traditions, wedding ceremonies and traditions. elegala.com/go/ideas_advice/for/wedding-traditions_and_customs, wedding traditions, customs, and rituals for weddings. elitedresses.com/american_wedding_customs_s/63.htm, American wedding customs and traditions. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/wedding_traditions_and_customs. ezenarticles.com, wedding traditions and wedding customs. farsinet.com/Persian_wedding, Persian wedding traditions and customs, Iranian. festivals.com. frugalbride.com/traditionscustoms.html. germanculture.com, learn about the German traditional wedding. iarelative.com/wedding, Eastern European wedding traditions and customs. ireland-information.com/articles/Irish wedding traditions.htm, Irish wedding traditions. cumc.edu/diversity, diversity calendar of major observances of ethnic and religious groups. mehendy-wedding-customs.htm. newjerseysweddingshop.com/French_wedding_customs.htm, French wedding traditions and customs. ourmarriage.com/html/customs_traditions.html, wedding customs and traditions. ourmarriage.com/html/discovering_the_past.html, discovering wedding traditions of the past. renaissance-weddings.net/wedding_tradition.htm. superweddings.com/article-customs-and-traditions.html, wedding traditions. t.html, discovering wedding traditions of the past. tulipstock.com/even-more-wedding-customs-and-traditions, more wedding customs and traditions around the world. tulipstock.com/wedding-customs-beliefs-and-traditions, wedding customs beliefs and traditions. volwed.co.za/beliefs.htm, wedding customs and superstitions. weddingsatwork.com/culture.htm, Philippine, Filipino weddings. Wedding-traditions.com. Wedthemes.com/wedding-customs.shtml. Worldlyweddings.com. Worldweddingtraditions.com. yourwedding101.com/ethnic-wedding-traditions. Chapter 2. Wedding by culture. African American wedding/black wedding. Essence and Ebony magazines might have some resources for the African American wedding. Go to your library and look through all the issues for the past few years to see what you come up with. There's a book geared for African American weddings called Jumping the Broom by Harriet Cole. It talks about African customs and lists addresses where you can buy traditional African wedding costumes, hire an African band, get an African minister, etc. You might find it at #395.22 at your library or order it through a bookstore. Jumping the broom is a tradition that black people used when they performed their unofficial wedding ceremonies during slavery. Slaves were not allowed to marry, so they developed their own ritual of marriage by jumping over a broom/stick that symbolized the strength of trees. You can see a clip of it in the TV miniseries Roots. Black Bridal Expo. BlackBeautifulWedding.com. Trade show and book, Black Bridal Guide. WeddingDetails.com/lore/african.cfm, African Wedding Traditions. WeddingDetails.com/lore/african.cfm, African Wedding Traditions. Chinese Wedding Info. chcp.org/wedding.html, Chinese Wedding. ChinaBridal.com/etiquette.htm, Chinese Wedding Culture, Customs, and Tradition, Chinese Wedding Dress, Chinese Wedding Invitations, Chinese Wedding Gifts, Decorations. Chinese-poems.com/wedcuz.html, Chinese Wedding Customs. 983wedding.com/Chinese, Chinese Wedding Traditions, Marriage Customs. ChineseNotWeddings.com, Chinese Not Weddings, Chinese Wedding Traditions. chcp.org/wedding.html, Chinese Wedding Traditions. Chinese-wedding-guide.com, Complete Wedding Guide for your Chinese wedding. Italian Wedding Info. life123.com/relationship/wedding-traditions/Italian-wedding-traditions-for-the-modern-bride-and-the-modern-wedding Italian Wedding Traditions for the Modern Bride and Groom. romanticitalianweddings.com/Italian-weddings.html, Italian Wedding Traditions. weddingdetails.com/lore/Italian.cfm, Italian Lore and Traditions. lifeinitaly.com/wedding/wedding-traditions.asp. weddingsinitaly.com. italianweddingplanners.com. weddingitaly.com. italy-weddings.com, Weddings in Italy. Japanese Wedding Info. japaneselifestyle.com.au/culture/marriage_modern.html. Hindu Wedding. You have become mine forever. Yes, we have become partners. I have become yours. Hereafter, I cannot live without you. Do not live without me. Let us share the joys. We are word and meaning, unite. You are thought and I am sound. May the nights be honey sweet for us. May the mornings be honey sweet for us. May the plants be honey sweet for us. May the earth be honey sweet for us. Hindu Marriage Poem. The Hindus believe that marriage is a sacred part of life that purifies the people involved. They accept interfaith marriages. In general, a civil ceremony is required by law and the religious ceremony is a separate thing altogether. The ceremony is conducted by a priest. In India, it can last all day. In westernized countries, the ceremony lasts about an hour and a half, followed by cultural traditions that can last several days. Some Hindu weddings are performed in a temple, but they are often conducted in the bride's home. The ceremony is a combination of lessons for married life, chanting of mantras, prayers, and blessings. The bride wears a sari made of a single piece of red fabric embroidered in gold. She wears gold jewelry that the groom's family had given her. The groom wears white pants, white shirt, and a ceremonial hat. At the beginning of the ceremony, the bride and groom usually sit under a decorated canopy called a mandaps. They might exchange flower garlands. The priest talks for a while about the sanctity of marriage, then he ties the couple's right hands together with rope and sprinkles holy water over them. The bride's father gives his daughter to the groom. The priest lights a sacred flame. The bride and groom make an offering of rice to symbolize their hope of fertility. The 7 steps part of the ceremony symbolize food, strength, wealth, fortune, children, happy seasons, and friendships. The bride and groom together either take 7 steps around the fire or walk around it 7 times. This is the sacred marriage part. After this, they feed each other 5 times with little bits of sweet food. There are more prayers and readings. WeddingsUttara.com, complete portal on Indian weddings, webcast wedding. Hindu wedding card / Indian wedding card. Cardenarts.com. CreativeWeddingCards.com. DreamWeddingCards.com. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/Indian_wedding_cards. FriendsWeddingCards.com. IndianWeddingCard.com. JaipurWeddingCards.com. ShadIcards.com. TheIndianWeddingCards.com. WeddingCardsOnline.net. Jewish Wedding Info. Husband, be consecrated unto me as my wife according to the laws of Moses and Israel. I will love, honor, and cherish you, I will protect and support you, and I will faithfully care for your needs as prescribed by Jewish law and tradition. Wife, in accepting the wedding ring, I pledge you all my love and devotion, and I take upon myself the fulfillment of all the duties incumbent upon a Jewish wife. Jewish marriage contract in the Ketubah. The Jewish wedding contract is called a Ketubah with religious blessings to sanctify the marriage in the eyes of God. The ceremony is called Kiddushin, which means sanctification. Traditionally, in the old days, wedding ceremonies went on for 7 days, but nowadays there's a middle ground approach of having fun and proclaiming the marriage joyously to the community with some restraint, saving the money for the couple to start a future together rather than spend it all on the festivities. Jewish weddings are not allowed to take place on the Sabbath or on any of the major holidays. Jewish people in general are very focused on the family as the center of life. The purpose of mitzvahs in general is to meet other Jewish people and be on the lookout for a mate, or maybe others will be looking at you as a possible mate for their kids or grandkids. When the marriage takes place, the father doesn't give the bride away. Both sets of parents are there to see to it that the 2 young lovers are consecrated to each other. A lot of Jewish weddings are the same as any other wedding, with the proposal, asking the father for permission to marry his daughter, showers, the best man, etc. Some Jewish traditions are: Oifrv, Torah honor to the groom. Sabbath/Saturday before the wedding, the groom reads out of the Torah his wishes for a happy and fruitful life at the synagogue, followed by Kiddush, an informal party. The guests might throw little bags of raisins at him when he's done and walking back to his chair for a fruitful life, as they say. Mikveh. Traditional ritual bath. Wife takes 1 to 7 days before the wedding day, after which she doesn't see the groom until the wedding. At the ceremony, the groom arrives with his father and father-in-law, then lowers the veil that the girl is wearing to make sure she's the right one, not like Jacob got fooled when he married the veiled Leah instead of Rachel, the one he really loved in the Bible. Jewish wedding ceremonies are often held outdoors, under a canopy, as a symbolism of God's promise to Abraham and his people that they would have as many descendants as there are stars in the sky. The wedding takes place under a chuppah/huppah, a 4-cornered canopy of cloth like a tent without walls, just the roof with a pole in each corner, often decorated with flowers. This symbolizes the new home of the couple. This is where the ceremony is held, kind of the equivalent of a Christian altar. The parents stand there underneath it with the bride and groom. The 2 fathers escort the groom to the chuppah, the 2 mothers escort the bride, or you could have each set of parents escorting their child to the chuppah where the rabbi is. The chuppah could be set up in a fixed position or held up by attendants during the ceremony. The bride and groom with their parents and attendants go to the chuppah. The service is usually conducted in Hebrew and English. The two mothers who accompany the bride could carry candles. The bride then circles around the groom 7 times, symbolizing entering the 7 spheres of the groom's soul, while music plays in the background. The rabbi does his initial prayers and psalms. The ancient Aramaic wedding vow, which the groom says just before he puts the ring on the bride's right forefinger, could be read in Hebrew. Behold, thou art consecrated unto me with this ring according to the law of Moses and of Israel. Hari et mikudeshe li betabat zokadat Moshe v Israel. The bride and groom take a drink of ceremonial wine and are blessed by the rabbi. The groom gives the bride a gold wedding ring. The marriage contract or ketubah is read aloud and presented to the couple. In traditional/conservative weddings, the bride never gives the groom a ring, but in liberal ceremonies, she could if she wants. If the bride gives the groom a ring, she says a vow that's about the same as this. The ketubah, the marriage agreement, is read, often in Hebrew by the rabbi, or it could be in English and Hebrew, or just in English. It's signed and witnessed and given to the bride for safekeeping. After this, 7 marriage blessings are read over the wine, preferably by 2 or more people. The higher status and the more people who read the vows, the higher the honor. The couple drinks it to symbolize taking it in. The empty glass is then placed in a handkerchief, handed to the groom, who puts it on the floor and steps on it to break it, a superstitious gesture with many myths about its origin, but it's just done for luck these days. Everybody shouts Mazel Tov when the glass breaks. The breaking of the glass is symbolic of the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem and serves as a reminder that even on such a joyous occasion, we should remember that others are not so fortunate. The service ends with the recessional. The bride and groom walk away, followed by the bride's parents, the groom's parents, the attendants, the rabbi, and the cantor, if one is there. The couple is now officially man and wife and are led to a private room to symbolically consummate the wedding. They usually have a drink and a snack in a ceremony called union/yuhud/seclusion. These few minutes give the couple a brief time to be alone. It symbolizes the couple's right to privacy. The couple shares their first meal together. The couple comes back out, the congregation cheers, then they start to party. There is no reception line as is popular with Christian weddings. The reception often begins with a blessing of the challah, a loaf of braided bread that symbolizes the sharing of families and friends. The wedding loaf is blessed, cut, and passed around to everyone. The meal ends with grace and 7 special benedictions sung in Hebrew. The bride and groom are king and queen for a day, so the band plays, everybody dances around them and may put them each in a chair and raise them up in the air for a minute or two. You might want to hire a Jewish caterer. After the dance, everybody sits down. The wedding cake comes out with dessert. You eat, then start dancing again for as long as you want. Charity/tzedakah is a part of Jewish custom, so in this happy time, it's prudent not to forget the less fortunate. The parents may make a charitable contribution in the name of the new couple, or may donate the leftover flowers, food, and wedding gown to others less fortunate. If you want liberal, secularized features in your wedding, or have any problems like a previous divorce, go see your rabbi to straighten things out in advance. If you're marrying a non-Jew, find a Reform rabbi to do the ceremony, because traditional rabbis won't do it. Put the wedding invitations in English and Hebrew. The bride's parents typically pay for the wedding, while the groom's parents can help out or chip in with the down payment on the house. In order for your children to qualify for Israeli citizenship, you have to do basic Jewish traditions with them while growing up. An Orthodox rabbi won't marry a non-Jew to a Jew. Sometimes they won't even marry a newly converted Jew if converted by a Reform rabbi. Some Orthodox and conservative rabbis may require a religious divorce decree called a get gotten through the synagogue if you're marrying again after a divorce. Other than that, a Jewish wedding is pretty well the same as any other one, so get the details at either wedding websites, bridal mags, or at number 395 at the library. A lot of Jewish men don't want to marry Jewish women, or there aren't as many around as Christians, so there are a lot of Jewish-Christian weddings these days. Jewish wedding websites. Books about Jewish weddings are at hashtag 395.22 or BM713 at the library. ash.com/jl/l/m/48969841.html, Guide to the Jewish Wedding. jewishweddingnetwork.com/Jewish-wedding-traditions. do-it-yourself-weddings.com/Jewish-wedding-tradition.html, Jewish Wedding Tradition Westchester-weddings.com/humor_Jewish_brides_advice.asp, jewfaq.org/marriage.htm, rabbinetwork.com, Jewish and interfaith marriages, rabbirentals.com, synagogues.com, jewishwedding.org, marriageservices.org, ourjewishwedding.com, 877 Ourjwi. Muslim wedding. Marriage is a holy and sacred covenant under Islamic law. However, there are some inconsistencies. Many girls are forced into arranged marriages. They must sit home, can't go out in public without being covered up, and wait until their father fixes them up with a husband, usually a man, twice her age, sometimes a relative. Men can get a divorce quite easily and remarry. Women can't. Men are allowed up to 4 wives. Women aren't allowed to have 4 husbands. Interfaith marriages are generally alright, but some sects object to marriages with Jewish people. An Islamic wedding is often a 2-stage deal. A civil service with various rituals and celebrations taking place in the home, then a ceremony at the mosque. There are usually 2 simultaneous parties, one for the men and one for the women, where the 2 sides exchange hospitalities and gifts with each other. A Muslim marriage ceremony takes place either in the mosque, at the bride's home, or in an office. The groom, along with the Sirbala, the youngest boy in his family, usually the son of a sibling, arrives at the ceremony. They are both welcomed and given floral garlands. An imam conducts the ceremony, reading from the Quran. The bride, who is wearing a veil, and the groom are seated apart during the ceremony, often on opposite sides of the room. The bride's father and 2 witnesses ask the bride if she has agreed to the marriage, then the imam asks the groom if he has agreed. If they both agree, the imam completes the ceremony. A meal is served after the ceremony, with both families and the bride and groom sitting separately at both sides of the room. After the meal, the bride leaves, puts on all the jewelry she has been given for the wedding, and returns to sit next to the groom, whereupon her veil is lifted. They may go elsewhere to have a reception. ArabicNews.com, Muslim marriage. ICMarriage.com. Islamicity.com/marriage. usc.edu/department/msa/human relations/women in Islam/marriage. zawaj.com/weddingways_main.html, wedding customs around the Muslim world. zawaj.com/articles/preparing_nadire.html. Sikh wedding. The Sikh wedding ceremony is called Anand carriage, which means the ceremony of bliss. The ceremony is either conducted in a gurdwara, a Sikh church, or at the bride's home. According to Sikh beliefs, morning is the happiest time of day, so most weddings are conducted then. The bride wears a red sari and a red head covering in addition to the jewelry the groom's family has given her. The groom wears a white suit and a turban, or he may wear a conventional suit of any color. The Sikhs use a central platform with men sitting on the right and women on the left. A Sikh priest or any Sikh person will officiate the ceremony. The bride's family welcome the groom's family by placing flower garlands around their necks. The bride comes in and exchanges garlands with the groom. The couple stands facing the officiator and the holy book, while the bride's father, with a sash in his hand, gives one end to the groom, the other to the bride. The officiator reads several verses out of the holy book about the holiness and responsibilities of marriage. The verses are read one at a time, then sung while bride and groom walk around the holy book 4 times. This is followed by prayers, singing and a sharing of food. Guests throw flower petals at the couple to symbolize happiness. SeekMatrimonials.com. Seeks.org.